So mine is a letter to this gentleman that lies here. A very handsome gentleman, no doubt. Our formal journey between you and I began on the 21st of April 1990, when we solemnized our story, when we solemnized our marriage at Mariakani Christian Center. But our story had started long before that. I first met you when I was attending a training which was sponsored by the National Treasury in Mombasa. I was an accountant then. You were then running your law firm of Wanyonyi and Company Advocates. Most people know me as Mrs. Wanyonyi. Many think Wanyonyi is somebody else. My husband is Wanyonyi Chebukati, so I'm married to the same man. They are not two different men. So I have been Mrs. Wanyonyi ever since I started working. Chebukati surfaced when 2017 came up, but I hardly used the name until 2022. During my mom's funeral, that is when I was introducing the chairman, everybody was shocked. And they were like, oh, so this is a Chebukati. So that is how, you may ask why I'm using two names of his, Wanyonyi Chebukati. Well, maybe I loved him so much that I had to take two of his names, I don't know. But it was an issue even when I went for vetting for my position. Because the parliamentarians thought there was a Wanyonyi and there was a Chebukati. So they didn't understand why I was not using the Chebukati name, but it's one and the same. So before our wedding, my pastor insisted that we undergo counseling sessions. And that was a prerequisite for marriage. You took it to heart, attending every session without fail, knowing that missing even one of them might lead to disqualification. I had a very curly pastor. So, as the wedding day approached, you traveled from Mombasa every weekend, sometimes twice a week, determined to see it through. When we were doing our wedding cards, the church insisted on your Christian name. He didn't give his name. I had to call the father to give me his Christian name. That's when I knew he was called Wellington. But as a Christian, he was a true Christian. But I think this phobia of university, when they were in the university being rebels, for some reason, they preferred using their African names. So today you have learned my husband was actually called Wellington. So that's what went onto the card. Wellington weds Mary. So a month after our wedding, I was transferred to Mombasa to join you. So later it became clear to me that the pastor had been testing your commitment. And that was because the sessions he used to come for, I think the pastor wanted to really understand and be sure I am in the right hands, because my pastor was a Bunyori, and my husband, I was going to get married to a Bukusu. And you know Bukusus, they are like Muslims. They can have more than one wife. So my father had actually cautioned me, and he kept on asking, are you sure you want to go to Bukusu? And if you do, then be ready to have company. So he kept on fearing that he knew. I learned how to blend into the crowd, to be there without drawing attention. Later I understood it was your way of silently taking care of me. At your request, your elder sister, my Dina, she spoke here, she moved into our home during the campaign periods, for the entire period of 2007. And her role was not just to support you, but to care for me. You knew the demands of the campaign and the pressures it would bring, and you made sure I wasn't left to navigate it alone. That was the kind of man you were. It turned out that because I was not at home in Saboti or Kitale, I was in Coast. There were so many people hovering around pretending to be the first ladies of the MP. the aspiring candidate. So I think he deliberately put Sister Dina there just to make sure that there's a shield around him. So that was him. I think that's why I am still the only wife to the man lying here. That was the greatest, that was the highest chance of it happening, because when you are campaigning, everybody wants to associate with you as your first lady. So my husband kept on insisting, you must come home, you must be seen, I must be seen to have a wife and to just have a decent wife. So I will fast forward to your friends. You were Cheb, and then later chairman. But to me, you were always honey or darling. But when Rachel came up as the first child, honey, darling got out of the way. It became Mama Rachel and Mama Rachel. So that is how we all acquired those titles. In the early days of our life, we had only one car, until later when we realized having a second car was more of a necessity than a luxury. Every morning, you would drop me at the district treasury where I worked and pick me up in the evening. I recall one day, one of those days, as a young married couple, we had had a disagreement. And I gave you the silent treatment of, as you took me to work, of kneel by mouth. We were not talking. So when we were not talking, it was always kneel by mouth. When you came to pick me up in the evening, you saw me from a distance, laughing heartily, chatting, and very excited. When I got into the car, I instantly resumed my kneel by mouth. Remember, carry forward from morning. You looked at me and said, was that you I just saw, or was it someone else who looked exactly like you? Happy and cheerful, and now you are kneel by mouth. Of course, that broke the ice and we continued talking. So he had a way of bringing me back whenever we had disappointments. As an advocate, you often had cases outside Mombasa, and you'd ask me to accompany you. I vividly recall a trip to Embu where you designated me as your driver, so you could prepare your case. Preparing the case was an excuse. He just wanted me to do the driving and to accompany him. At the time, I thought it was simply about work, but over time, I realized it was much more. He wanted us to bond and get close to each other. And that is how we got close, because Rachel came 2 years later after our marriage. Those 2 years were real bonding years. When I was transferred from Mombasa to Nairobi, because I overgrew my seniority, so I was taken to Nairobi. And being a Bukusu man, there was no way I could force you to join me, or even a Luya man. So I found a way. I started slowly pulling out the children. So I pulled Rachel to Nairobi, then I pulled Jonathan, and you heard Emmanuel say how they remained the two of them, and they realized they just have to come to Nairobi. That's how my husband ended up coming to Nairobi. And eventually, I saw the team of Kuto there. He now opened and became the managing partner and opened their Nairobi branch. Many people assumed I was the talkative one in our marriage. No. This man spoke more than I did. You do not believe it. He spoke more than I did. He chatted more than I did. And the people who actually know that, who gave the tribute that is really applicable to the gentleman here, was the IBC, where he spent 6 years at the helm. To him, that was his second family. He protected them, and they are here. He ensured that he gave them their best coverage. And I was so encouraged when they came home, almost 150 of them. They had a ceremony, lit candles, and the tributes we had were spot on. That is exactly my husband. IBC, you got it right. That is him. Yes, thank you very much. So the only thing I've not done, because chairman had a habit of starting things, he starts projects, and then he dumps them on me because he knows I'll run with them. But one thing we've not been able to do with him was to do the PhD. We kept on arguing who will start their PhD first among the 5 of us. It's still a challenge, but for me, I don't think it adds any value. So the challenge is among the three. So he encouraged me. You have heard about our golf career. You often set that difficult task. I have just told you that. My husband was so generous, so generous. His generosity was to the extent that when he traveled out of the country, he thought the more expensive was the best. So he would bring me very expensive things, which sometimes I would not be able to wear. But I would have to pretend that they are very nice and they are very good. But for him, he picked price first, then quality. Because for him, he believed it's the best when it's the most expensive. So I enjoyed a lot of your gifts, which I know now I will not be able to have them. So after your first surgery, you went about life as if nothing had happened, and you haven't had that. Playing golf and doing everything he could. The children stepped in, they would accompany him. We used to work in shifts, as Emmanuel had mentioned. At no time after his first surgery did the gentleman here remain on his own. We did shifts. If it was in Germany, we went in shifts. Emmanuel, being self-employed, spent more time. The rest of us would do at least 2 weeks whenever we're required. And when he started ailing, the same thing happened. Despite the fact that he had 24-hour nursing care and aid care, we ensured that each of us had shifts. And if I had to go away, because CRA demanded of me to travel, Rachel, thanks to her bosses, would take leave and come and step in my position. This gentleman, I cannot say more, he was a man of integrity. He despised liars or lies. He couldn't stand a lie. He just could not stand anybody lying around him. In fact, his favorite verse, Mark 8:36, he loved this verse. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? He really loved this verse. I cannot really end this all before speaking about August 22. There's so much to speak, but let me fast forward to August 15th, 2022, just before the results were announced. It was chaotic. But just around noon, a call came in, and the pastors wanted clearance at the gate. So they requested that the chair asked the protocol team to allow them to have quick, free access. So he was getting ready because he had come back very early in the morning of August 14th. I heard him telling his team that he'll be announcing the results on that day at 3. He hadn't slept, so I forced him to sleep for at least 2-3 hours so that he could take a rest. And when he woke up, it was calls that kept waking him up, so he woke up and he was dressing. So as we were preparing him to dress, he kept on getting calls. And at one time, the security came in and said, I don't know who was waiting at the gate. We don't know who was waiting at the gate. But to fast forward, a call that came in was from the Archbishop Olesapit, requesting that the chair calls the gate to get clearance. Now, I overheard that conversation because he was busy dressing, so he was on speakerphone. And I said to him, why don't you ask the Archbishop to come home? And he says, why would he come home now? They are heading for, and I said, no, let him come home. It turned out there were 14 of them. So when they came home, a team of 14 came in. When they came, I just told them, I pray for the chair every morning. I used to pray for him every morning before he leaves the house, because the spiritual leaders had told me I am the Esther of this country. So I used to pray for him every morning, just at the door before he leaves. So that day I prayed for him. I couldn't pray. So when the Archbishop came, and the entire team, there were 14 of them, I said to them, I'm not able to pray. Can you please pray for this day? Can you please pray for the chairman as he proceeds to go and announce the results? So he went, they came, they took 5 minutes to get home because we don't stay far from Gomas. And when they finished, they did not sit, they just stood up, prayed, and left. But I made sure before they left, the security team ensured the chairman was in the middle of this convoy. I don't know for what reason, but I just found myself insisting, telling the security guys delay a bit because he had not fully dressed. He needed to dress up to prepare to go. So there he was in the middle of this convoy all the way to Bomas. When they got to Bomas, they believed this was the chairman's team, so they put them to sit at the back of the podium. The podium that they were going to announce the results. But ideally, they were supposed to sit on another platform, but they were made to sit at the back. To me, that was divine intervention, because when the fracas started, it was the men of God who were behind him. It was not any other person. It was the men of God who were sitting behind him. And I thank God for that day. And in the process of that fracas, you have heard, we tried to reach him, we couldn't reach him. Somehow Rachel reached him. She was trying to tell him, I don't like the way you're speaking. Are you okay? People are saying you've been hijacked, whatever. And he said, in his calm demeanor, he kept on saying, no, I'm okay. I tried to reach him. I put on my phone. My phones had been off. And I told the security detail to just go to him to see if I could talk to him. He said, I asked him, is there anybody you're seeing around him that you think I know? He says, I'm seeing Bishop Oginde. So I told him, give Bishop Oginde the phone. And he gave him the phone, and I asked Bishop, I said to him, you're a man of God, don't lie to me. Tell me the truth, is my husband alive? He said, yes, he's alive. I said, I repeated, you are a man of God, just tell me the truth. He said, I can see him. He's alive, but he's surrounded with people, so I can't even give him the phone. Thank you very much, Bishop. That made a big difference. We were really stressed at that time, because people were calling Rachel, calling me, saying, Chairman is being compromised, he's refusing to announce the results, and a lot of talk. So that was a very, very, very difficult day for us. But God came through for us. He really came through for us. So we thank God. And I want to say, when he came home, after he announced the results, he was so tired he just slept on the sofa. And then when he woke up, he asked, is there peace in the country? And I said, yes. And it just turned out there was the TV was airing, the people, at that particular time it was some young people in Kisumu. And this young guy was saying, wakati huu hatutarusha mawe. So I told him, you can see for yourself, the country is peaceful. And he said, so why did anybody else think that the country was not going to be peaceful? And he was so excited. He said, I know I have made the right decision. What I needed is to have this country peaceful. I was not going to be the one to cause bloodshed in this country. So he was very clear about that, and he was very peaceful after that. And the rest, we went for the Supreme Court, and the rest, So on 12th February is when he was admitted. But he had been in hospital for about more than a month, almost 2 months. In ICU, he went and then came back to the ward. Then when they're just about to discharge him, he picks a hospital infection, so they retain him. Just again, when they're about to discharge him, he picks a hospital. So the day he just survived the hospital infection, we requested the hospital to release him because they had already told us they'll be releasing him to palliative care, which they did. We set up a ward for him, proper ward, oxygen, everything. But somewhere along the line, he got up. His oxygen levels had gone down, but they were improved, but the doctors insisted he goes in. So he goes in on 12th February, and he's admitted. And 2 days later, his lungs have fluid. And then on Saturday, he has a cardiac arrest. He had a cardiac arrest, and the doctor comes out and says, we've lost him. I was there with my young sister-in-law, Eliza. There was a lot of emotion. And Rachel says, no, I'm going to the room. The doctor says, you would like to see what you're seeing there. I had been there earlier and I could see them trying to resuscitate him. So I left the room to go and pray. I went to one of the rooms we used to sit and I said, God, just give us another miracle. God has just been kind to us. You heard what Rachel said. We had been given 4 to 6 months. Chairman went on and on and on. The doctors, even when they were now getting discouraged, because we were encouraged, they came back on. And they kept on saying, he's on because of the support that he's getting. So he's continued fighting. When he would go down, we would be worried. Then again he comes up. Then again he goes down. So that is how he was. But we thank God that on that day, the first cardiac arrest, Rachel went to the room. She found they were still resuscitating him. I don't know what she told him, because immediately after that the doctor said, we have found a pulse. And they started clapping and they were all excited. Everybody in the room was excited. Remember, we had just been told we've lost him. So he survived that day. And that day he had 4 more cardiac arrests. He survived them. And the following day he was okay. That was now Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday at night, I had talked to the doctor around 11 p.m. So that's why I was a bit surprised to get a call at 11:30 to be told he had had a cardiac arrest and now he's dead. Those were the words, that he's dead. So I asked them, is that how you're announcing the results? I mean, he's dead to me. They said, yeah, he has died, so you need to come in. So it was just as simple as that. And Rachel quickly mobilized my brother, my sister, and Wakili Nyongesa, and we met at the hospital. And that was it. We went and confirmed that we had lost the chairman, and he still looked like he was asleep. I still feel it's a dream, and I just keep hoping that I will wake up. At the back of our minds, we knew it's a matter of time. The doctors kept on saying, one day at a time. Dr. Kahuho of Silverstein kept on saying, one day at a time. Dr. Kiari, who was the one handling his oncology, was fully supported. For her, she knew chairman can continue living, but I think the chemo was bringing him down. Dr. Magoha, who became the surgeon, said we were to have had a 3rd surgery. He felt we can't have it. Germany said we can't have it because if we have it, there will be no quality of life. So those doctors and others who were on board, they really supported us and they encouraged us all the way. When you see us strong, it's been a journey. So I want to just say, so many people have been praying. And every person who has been praying, they kept saying, this man will give a testimony. And every day we asked ourselves with Rachel, because it came a time he couldn't talk. We kept asking ourselves, so how will he give a testimony when he's not able to talk? So at the back of our minds, we knew that he will have to give a testimony and he has to give it himself. So we knew there will be another miracle for us. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. The testimony I believe he was supposed to give is this testimony that we have had today. That is what I believe. And many more days and years to live on for the kind of work he did, what he did for this country. Because a lot of prayers were taking place throughout. And what was interesting, whenever he would go down, all the people would be praying for him. That day, you just find, even without us talking to him, they are praying. All the time, when he's improved and he's doing very well, again you find these prayers. So it's as if there was some connection with him and people who were praying for him. So I just want to say, my darling, gone are those joyful moments we had, the memorable times we had with the children and yourself, those international trips that we made, which whenever we went for holiday, we carried my mother with me. We also made trips, we would carry my parents-in-law with me. And I think at this juncture, please pray for them. They were not able to come. My father is even sick. Father-in-law is sick in hospital. When I lost my parents, those became my parents, my immediate parents. And when my father-in-law came after the news, before he knew he had lost his son, he was coming to Nairobi. He had an accident and he injured his leg. So that's what is giving him trouble. Apparently some metal remained in his leg and it's becoming septic. But I spoke to him this morning. He blessed us. He said, I will not be able to join you. My mother-in-law, of course, will not be able to join me. The sisters are here. The brothers are here. And we thank God for them. So just to say that I will miss this gentleman. I don't know. People have been saying they'll be there for us. I hope he'll be there for us because that's what has made us strong. You being there for us. And just as I end, just one final request. Anybody who was in the committee, please stand up. The committee that has ensured we are where we are today. I think mostly the ladies dressed in black and gold and the gentlemen. Please stand up quickly because I don't want, if you sat on any committee, Zippy, Winnie, Mary, I can see Isaac Otolo there, Ruth. These are the people who have put together, Barbara, you have been consulting. These are the people who put together the event. So these are the people and others who put this event together. Let me appreciate you so much. I know I might not find another time to appreciate you. Joyce, who was representing IBC, can you just clap for them? Yes, thank you, Professor Wakili, Wakili Wanyama. These are the people who will ensure